Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our November monthly meeting of the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District. We'll call the meeting to order with a moment of silence. Amen. And now we'll have a roll call of commissioners. Vice Chair Pantazis, Commissioner Thompson, Commissioner Barnes,
Present.
and Commissioner Lewis.
Present.
All right, we have a quorum including me, so the meeting is officially called to order. I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as printed.
I make a motion that we adopt the agenda as printed.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we adopt the agenda as printed. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that item passes. Next item of business is our consent agenda. This is something that we instituted at our last meeting. We have 4 items under the consent agenda, one being the approval of the September minutes. The second will be the President CEO's report. The third is presentation of low-income finance report through October 31st. And the last is a resolution for the charge-offs. Commissioners, you all have these in your board packet. I will entertain a motion to accept this consent agenda.
I make a motion to accept this consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we adopt the consent agenda and approve those items as printed. I'll do a roll call vote of the commissioners. Vice Chair Pantazis, Commissioner Thompson, Commissioner Barnes.
Yes.
This would be, okay, and Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
And I also vote yes, so we will pass that consent agenda for those 4 aforementioned items. Next item is old business. President Foster.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Good
Attorney
afternoon.
French and those that are present today and those are on Zoom. There are a few items I want to mention under old business. We had our last meeting held at Freedom Manor, and there were some residents that brought some concerns before us, and I want to address those. Some of those items were the concern as it relates to the door, the entrance door of the building. Sometimes when residents go out, they prop the door open, which is a safety hazard. And so what we did was have the functions of the door to be evaluated. We suggest staff to make sure that once they leave out the door, they close the door properly behind them so that, it won't be accessible to those that are not residents of Freedom Manor. So the other item was the elevator. We had the elevator checked. The elevator is properly working and it's up to code. There are times the elevator does go down and we ask the residents to inform the management office when that occurs, and then we'll immediately have someone to come and address that matter. But as of now, the elevator is working. The other item was sanitizing the building. And of course, there were residents that voluntarily sanitized. We ensured that our maintenance staff, do their due diligence, ensuring that, things are wiped down and the restrooms are being cleaned so that we can stay sanitized, throughout the building. The final item was concern of drug activity within Freedom Manor. So we had our Director of Community Safety to evaluate that and see what was going on within the building. And there was no findings or sign of, drug activity such as selling and so forth. So the Freedom Manor seemed to be drug-free at this point. So we just wanted to address those concerns that were brought to us in the previous meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, President Foster. Any other old business? New business, President Foster.
Okay, I do want to share that we have 2 new executive staff that joined us in the past 2 months. So I would like to introduce them, ask them to come up and share a little bit about themselves. And the first one I bring up is Megan Holland. She's our new Director of Public Relations. She's came aboard in October. So I'd like to come up and share a few words, Ms. Holland.
Good afternoon.
To help propel HABD, especially with its public perception and its internal and external communications, to make sure that the work we're doing is amplified and known throughout the Birmingham community and then in the broader Alabama region and across the nation as well. So thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So we'll ask our newest member, Ms. Danita Bearden. She's our Chief Administrative Officer. I would say this is her 3rd week aboard.
Good afternoon, commissioners and
afternoon.
attendees. Thank you so much. My name is Danita Bearden. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer. I just joined in November. I have a long career in helping implement and structure administrative processes. So I'm looking forward to working with our agency and strengthening us going forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No other new business.
All right, great. All right, at this point, we'll entertain presentation by procurement.
We'll have Seth Embry, Chief Operating Officer.
Good afternoon, commissioners.
Afternoon.
I'm here with a agenda item for, okay. There we go. Approval of award contract for on-call heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and boiler chiller preventive maintenance services. I'm sorry, okay. As reflected both on the screen and in your board packet, this request is to form a pool of contractors that the agency may draw on to perform on-call HVAC work at all of our communities and management buildings, office buildings, including this building, our central office, and all of our properties. There's some details in the board packet in terms of the purpose, the various types of HVAC systems that we have throughout our properties and buildings. And we are requesting board approval to proceed with the recommended contractors to provide needed services to ensure our residents reside in decent, safe, and sanitary housing. We posted an invitation for bid, a solicitation. It was available from March 10th to August 24th of this year. We received 2 bids that were deemed responsible and responsive, and those entities are listed here: H&E Heating and Air and D&D Mechanical. The bids were reviewed and H&E submitted the lowest responsive and responsible bid in the amount of $806,250. D&D Mechanical, obviously the only other responsible bidder, submitted a bid. Their amount was $937,500. Management recommends the award of a contract to both contractors. The way the pool will work is that the lowest bidder is entitled to get the first call when we have services, HVAC services needs, and the way the RFP was structured, and so the contractors are both aware, is that they have 1 day. We've deemed it responsible and reasonable for them to have 1 day to come out to inspect and provide an estimate or whatever the issue, and 1 additional day to actually resolve the issue. If that first contractor cannot commit to that schedule, depending on the work and their workload and things of that nature, then we'll go to the second contractor. So that's why we'll have 2 under contract. Also in your packet is the list of the entities that viewed the bid. So it was available online, and also the ones that we have the bid information, the tabulation for the responses, which determines how we got to the lowest bid. Contracts will be valid for a period of 1 year, and we can do 4 additional 1-year extensions. Our limit on contracts is a period of 5 years. So I'm not saying that to say that we'll have them for 5 years, just that that's the maximum under the contract, or under HUD guidelines really for us to have a contract. And so there's a resolution in the board packet, and that's the conclusion of my presentation.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Any questions, commissioners? Well, if not, I will entertain a motion to authorize the president and CEO to enter into a contract with H&E Heating and D&D Mechanical.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly second that we authorize president and CEO to enter into a contract with H&E Heating and D&D Mechanical. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the item passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ember.
Thank you.
Human Resources.
Calandra Jefferson Mitchell, Director, Human Capital.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Commissioners, you have in front of you the request for a board action for the revision of the HABD Human Resource Policy Manual and to increase the tuition reimbursement amount. So these changes are reflected in a working condition and employee benefit under 101.2.4B. So the purpose of this action is to provide clear policy guidance, continuing education, and staff development. The revision was to add 5,000 per employee a year, effective fiscal year July 1, 2022 until June 30th, 2023. We are requesting to increase the amount from 2,500 to 5,000. And so you'll notice in your attachment, the policy revision, we're requesting for us to remove the 2,500 a year and replace it with 5,000 per employee a year. So that's in red. So the description and justification. So prior to the amount changing from 2,500 in February of 2022, there was no maximum amount per employee, and the amount was based on the funds that were available. The tuition reimbursement is one of those benefits that's used to recruit and to retain talented employees. HABD supports the need for the continued professional growth of its employees to increase their competency in their present job or to enhance the employees' potential for advancement at a position with the Housing Authority. There have been increased inquiries regarding tuition reimbursement from current and potential employees. Currently, we have 3 that are actually taking advantage of the benefits, but again, there have been increased inquiries. And based on the review of the past employees participants, this amount should help cover up to 3 or 4 courses a year. There are agreements in place should the employee terminate his or her employment within the Housing Authority within 2 years of receiving the assistance. The economic impact and the funding source. A revision to the budget will be submitted with more specific details. HR would check with finance to ensure the funds are available prior to the employee approval. Once the funds are approved, the funds will be allocated to the employee, and if the number of requests increase, then we'll revisit the amount. So the resolution, commissioners, today that we're requesting your approval to revise the Human Resource Policy Manual regarding the working condition and employee benefits, 101.2.4B, and to increase the tuition reimbursement from 2,500 to 5,000 per employee a year, beginning fiscal year July 1, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. Thank you.
Any questions, commissioners? But just me, I just want to say that I think it's always the right thing to invest in our employees and our staff. So I'm excited to see that we're doubling this, and I would just love to see more of our employees take advantage of this opportunity.
Yes, sir.
So, commissioners, there are no questions. I entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Been moved and properly second that we authorize the amendments to the HR policy to increase our tuition reimbursement from 2,500 to 5,000. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that item passes.
Thank you,
Mr.
commissioners.
Fletcher.
Thank you.
Next item is real estate.
Yes. Kristen Hilliard. Krista Hilliard with our project manager, and we also have Cindy Herrera on Zoom, our real estate consultant.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Go ahead, Christy. Okay. The action being requested today is to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Birmingham and funding for the choice neighborhood application. Basically, we are resubmitting a choice neighborhood application for the Smithfield community. It was submitted in 2020 and unfortunately was not successful. So we'll be submitting a new one that is due on January the 11th of 2023. The city of Birmingham and HABD are serving as co-applicants on the application, and we'll be jointly working on that to prepare that. The anticipated budget is not to exceed $500,000, and we anticipate 50% of those costs would be reimbursed to HABD by the city of Birmingham. A little bit about Choice Neighborhood Program. Basically, Choice Neighborhoods leverages public and private dollars to support strategies that address an overall neighborhood that has a severely dispersed public housing community. The three pillars of the Choice Neighborhood Program are housing, people, and neighborhood. We have partners. Our housing partner is Integral Development. Our people partner is a group led by the Ascend Group, which is a subsidiary of Integral, the United Way, and UAB. And our neighborhood is the city. And so these three components all have to be addressed in the Choice Neighborhood application as to how you're going to transform the overall community through these three pillars. We're working we've been working for the last several months on the plan referred to as the transformation plan, which is the neighborhood revitalization strategy for the application that we will be submitting to HUD. Christy, next. The policy and impact. This basically will enable HABD to be a co-applicant with the city for the development of the transformation plan, which serves as the basis for the CNI grant application. The economic impact is significant. If successful, we will achieve up to $50 million. We are requesting the full amount of $50 million, which will be leveraged with significant private capital. And we're estimating that the overall economic impact will be about $250 million. So at this point, we're recommending that the board approve a budget not to exceed $500,000 and an intergovernmental agreement with the city that will ultimately be approved by legal counsel, the final document for the intergovernmental agreement.
Great. Thanks.
Questions?
Any questions, commissioners, regarding this board action? Okay. Well, if no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve this intergovernmental agreement for the purposes previously stated.
I'll move.
Been moved and properly second that we approve this intergovernmental agreement for the purposes previously stated related to the Choice Neighborhood grant. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that item passes.
Great, thank you, commissioners.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you both.
We're going to give her March Village update.
Well, it's not up here, but she can just proceed.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing. Did you ask for an update on Marks Village, Don Cho?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My apologies. We are working currently with the developer, and the board had approved the development agreement with Gorman Company, who we are working with. They will actually be out doing a site visit right after the first of the year. Currently, we are in the process of moving the remaining families from phase one to the other phase. And we anticipate doing some additional environmental work at the site to determine the status of where we are. That includes both lead-based paint, updated testing, and preparation of specifications for remediation, as well as update on the soils located at the front of the site. We hope to have all of the updated testing completed by the end of the year with concrete plans in place as far as how we will proceed with any remediation efforts into the new year.
Thanks. Any questions about that, commissioners?
Residents start moving already?
Cindy, I don't know if you heard that or if Ms. Foster, you want to.
Yes, they have. We met with the residents. They selected their option. Some want to remain on site, some to move to other sites that we have in our portfolio. But to answer your question, yes, the moves have started.
Okay, but they will be on HABD property?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Ms. Hilliard. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Our next item of business is persons desiring to speak at the board meeting. I know we had a list up front. Thank you. Oh, Ms. Body. Okay, Ms. Body?
I like to ask all of my residents to come up and stand with me. Okay, we are here today, and I have three things I'd like to address.
I'm sorry.
Watch your foot right
All
there.
right,
On the end, the lady with the maroon hat went on her fall.
Yes, thank you.
we have three items we would like to address today. 2 months ago, we came to the meeting, and after that meeting, we were told that we asked the question, what were your plans for Illerton? And we were told that you had sent some information to HUD concerning tearing down the buildings. There's 2 buildings that's on 3rd Street. And we have no proof that this actually is happening. I learned years ago, if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. So we need something as the residents of Illerton to show so that I can share with my other people the process of what's going on with Illerton concerning those buildings and the tearing down of the gym. The next item is that I heard Mr. Emery talk about contractors, but I have a leaky ceiling in my bathroom, and it's not going to be long before it comes all the way, the rain comes all the way through. I didn't hear anything about that. Well, you have a contractor for that. The last thing is we attended the meeting for the choice grant on last week. My question is, I've noticed that all of the sites, something has been done for them to improve their site. And whereby Illerton, nothing has been done for Illerton ever since 2009. And my question is, and our question is, I hear that you're partnering with the city of Birmingham for the choice grant. The question is, we asked today, why would you partner with the city of Birmingham in applying for the choice grant without including Illerton? That's our question today. We have not had anything done to Illerton since 2009. So that's why we are here today, to find out why there's not going to be done anything and Illerton is not going to be included in the grant. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Body.
Thank you, Ms. Biden, and the residents of Illerton for joining us today and addressing your concerns. As it relates to the structured buildings that we discussed, we had following that meeting that you indicated that 2 months ago, I think it was at Harris Homes. We did have a meeting with the residents to have some of these discussions as it relates to the concerns you brought before us today. And as it relates to the structured buildings, we are completing the application to submit to HUD. And unfortunately, it takes about 6 months before they review and even approve, if approved, for those applications to be considered. So we're in that process now. So once we hear back, I can definitely put something in writing to you that the application has been provided. But until we hear back from HUD, there's no documentation that we can provide at that time, because we'll receive from HUD an approval application, and that'll be the documentation to share with you that's what transpired. Yep. Okay. Okay. Okay, we can give you something in writing saying that we submitted the application to her. Is that? We do apply. It's under HUD's form, under HUD's system. So I can talk to you more about it in a later time, but I can provide you something, but I cannot provide you the application. Okay, we can show you proof that the application has been submitted. Okay, we can do that, Ms. Body. Okay, and that's relates to the leak and sealing. Mr. Williams, he's currently working on that right now to identify and make sure we get someone in your unit to see what's going on to the unit to get that addressed. And your concerns about Illiton update, including Illiton within the Smithfield grant. So as it was indicated, we applied for this grant in 2020, and there were some things in our debriefing that was shared with us that we need to pull back on and make changes to. And one of those was the boundaries as we set around Smithfield Court. So unfortunately, because they made changes to the NOFO, we had to limit it to 3 neighborhoods. And so that neighborhood did not include Illiton Village, is why it was not included to the grant this round. And also, trying to remember your other concern you had as relates to, the updates. So we are now in the process of going over our annual plan. And as you know, every year we have to do an annual plan, and any structured information or departmental changes we make within the properties, we have to put in our annual plan. So we are in review of that. And through the review, we have to bring it before the residents as a resident advisory board to review that and provide their feedback. And so we'll say that Illiton Village is included in that annual plan and how we're moving forward, because another thing we had to do is do a budget to our capital funds and identify a line item, how we address some rehabs or new construction on some of our communities, and Illiton is included. And you will be a part of those discussions once we have those meetings.
I think I noticed that the choice grant is nothing going to be done on the west side, where we are. And I'm still puzzled about why would we apply for a grant and not be able to include Illiton.
It's the way the grant was structured that we're not able to include Illiton, because we were only able to bound around 3 neighborhoods. And so it stopped at the Greymount area, which Illiton sits on the other side of Greymount. So that's why we could not include into the grant.
All that area over that way, but it's not going to benefit us at all. So that's the issue we have with that, and the question we have. And I think that that has really been answered to this, to our satisfaction. So we'll see.
So what we'll do is, and I appreciate you attending our meeting when we had at Legion Field. And what we'll do is we'll have a meeting at Illiton Village to share with you what those boundaries look like and the reason why we could not include Illiton Village. So we'll have a separate meeting with the residents to share that map and show why we could not include Illiton Village. I'll get the team and schedule. It may be after Thanksgiving holidays, so we'll definitely have the meeting before we submit the application. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Body. Appreciate that. That was the last person that we had on our list to speak before the board. So at this time, next item of business is for executive session. Attorney French, we anticipate being in executive session, I would say for about an hour. We have a number of personnel matters that we'd like to discuss, as well as some reports that we need to discuss with the board.
Okay, then, Mr. Chairman, I'll certify that the board and the commissioners will go into an executive session for an hour pursuant to Alabama Code Section 36-25A-7. And will there be any business conducted following the executive session?
No, we'll just be adjourning after that.
Okay, and then we'll adjourn after the executive session, and pursuant to law, no action will be taken in the executive session, just a discussion.
Correct.
All right,
And
we'll need a roll call vote to go into executive session, and once we come out,
Mhm.
another roll call vote with the commissioners.
Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna say an hour to an hour and a half.
Yes, sir.
All right. Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion for us to go into executive session.
Make a motion that we move into executive session.
A second.
It's been moved and properly second that we go into executive session. Roll call of commissioners, Vice Chair Pantazis, Commissioner Thompson, Commissioner Barnes.
Present.
Yes, you.
Yes. I'm sorry.
And Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
We got you. Yep. All right, so,
Chairman Hood,
yes.
this
Commissioner
is
Thompson.
Tawana. I'm actually in the building. I wanted to say yes if I needed to vote.
Okay, I think you have to actually be at the dais to do that, if I'm not mistaken, but if the item passes, we have 3 votes. Come on, take your seat. And Commissioner Thompson, what say you?
Yes.
So it's been moved and properly second that we go into executive session for approximately 60 to 90 minutes. All right. All right, commissioners, I will entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
Sorry.
Second.
Been moved and properly second that we come out of executive session. I'll do a roll call vote. Vice Chair Pantazis, Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
All right, we are officially out of executive session and our next item of business is adjournment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
It's been moved and properly second that we adjourn this monthly meeting of the Housing Authority of Birmingham District. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our meeting is over. I see Vice Chair Pantaz is on the line. I don't know if he can speak. Hello, sir. All right, you brought that. All right, so we are officially adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't know.